So inside a company, what can we do to foster a culture where people give each other a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, a little bit of a second chance, so that they can build a culture where people feel connected and liked and respected and get to that gratitude piece fairly easily? What do you think?
Well, one of the stories that I actually share in my book is Manny DeSantis. He is the CEO of Valley Fastener Company. And several years ago, he decided that he was going to do stay interviews, which is the opposite of an exit interview, because I personally believe those are a little late. Hey, why are you leaving? Where a stay interview, what Manny did, and he was in charge of 3 different plants, is he went and had meetings with every single employee to find out, what they liked about working there, what they didn't like about working there, what they would change if they were him. And the first round that he did it, it was as you would expect. People were suspicious. They gave him the answers that they thought he wanted to hear. But then he acted on some of those suggestions, and the employees were like, wow, he actually cares. So the second round, when he did it again, they were more truthful. And the third time, they were even more so, because Manny created a safe space for them to share their ideas. And even with this great resignation that's going on right now, Manny hasn't lost any employees because of that, the culture that he's created. And a lot of it is based on that stay interview.
Okay, so I've never heard of this before, but I absolutely love the idea of the stay interview. I'm reminded of one time, 25 years ago, I worked for an association, and the person I worked for was a really horrible boss. And we could fill up the whole half hour with just story after story, internally and externally, how she rubbed everybody the wrong way. And I couldn't handle it anymore. And nobody higher up was going to do anything about it because she was achieving results. So I quit. And HR was in a different city. I asked about doing a phone exit interview, and the head of HR called me and said, the number 2 person, the COO, said, no exit interview, because anyone from that region is going to say negative things about this person, and I don't want that to happen. So no exit interview. Well, all of my coworkers were like, oh, what are you going to say in the exit interview? And I shared that, and pretty much everybody ended up leaving very shortly after. So, the exit interview can have a lot of points, but it also could have someone disgruntled. The COO just assumed I was disgruntled, which I wasn't. It was, I was leaving for other reasons as well. But I love the idea, instead of exit interviews, which could have, pissed off people, etc. I love the idea of a stay interview, because you really would find out. Now, if this particular organization I just talked about had a tradition of doing stay interviews before this person got out of hand and ran everybody off, people would start to have, sort of some sort of a feedback loop of what was going on. Plus, they would know all the good that's going on. So you can then accentuate the good and get rid of the other. So I love this idea of the stay interview. I want everyone who's listening, who works for a company, to start doing that. So how can people embrace the stay interview?
Well, you can come up with a list of questions, and actually, if you Google stay interview, you can find questions, but it can literally be as simple as, tell me 3 things that you like about working here. And what that becomes is your fodder now for recruiting new talent, because you're getting the actual words of your employees as far as what they like. And if you were me, tell me 3 things you would change. Trying to keep it positive, tell me 3 things that you don't like about the job. Okay, what would you change? Because now you're also empowering people, and they're giving you ideas that you can actually act on if they would change. So it can be as simple or as complex. I would like to err on the side of it being more simple. But the main thing is, even like with your employee interviews and stuff that you're doing, your yearly feedback. I'm completely blanking on the
performance reviews.
Performance reviews. No, where they're giving their opinion on the company. Anyway, but it's important to act, because if you have people come in and they do a big employment survey to see what everybody's going on, and then the employees don't hear back for like 8 or 9 months, they're like, well, that was a total waste of breath. So when you are doing this, if you are going to do stay interviews, number one, you are becoming the master of the poker face. So no matter what that employee says for you, your only response is thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. That's it. You're neutral, because if you fight, if you justify, if you do anything to downplay the information that they are sharing with you, they will never share again. And yes, are you going to have disgruntled employees whining to you? Yes, you will. And if you look for that little morsel of truth in all of that complaining, chances are good that if you're open to it, you'll probably find something that you can make a minor adjustment and completely change that employee's experience.
So if you're the boss and you're doing these stay interviews, don't get defensive. Just take the
Correct.
information in. Nice. I like that.
Yep.
I like that. It's funny because you said just go Google a stay interview and you'll find all kinds of things, but I never even heard of such a thing before. So thank God for your book, because your book has now exposed
There's a
me
whole
and
chapter
everyone who's
on it.
listening. There you go. There you go.
There's a whole chapter and a bunch of questions. So that right there is a reason to go to Amazon and get it.
Everybody, for nothing else, you want to be holding the stay interviews, and she'll show you how to do it right.